Greetings, fellow cultivators. Welcome to Audio Nova. Remember to like and subscribe to support the journey. Today, we're diving into the story of what's the point of cultivating immortality if you don't have money. Listening to Xiong Pianpian's descriptions of various information about university majors, Xiong Yu felt a sense of feelings. Choosing a university major is practically like being reborn a second time. Even at the same university, if you choose well, you can become nobility, but if you choose poorly, you'll be a commoner. Then, Xiong Yu asked about the teachers, mentioning that he could designate one, after passing the foundation establishment examination. Xiong Pianpian said she could help investigate and tell him next time she had the chance, but she only knew about the situation at Myriad Dharma University. After learning so much about Myriad Dharma University from Xiong Pianpian, Xiong Yu became even more interested in attending. With my sister's help, I'll obviously have more advantages after joining Myriad Dharma University. After ending the call, Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenjin were walking home, and he shared this idea. Bai Zhenjin nodded in agreement, saying, being able to go to the same university as our mom is definitely a good thing. I wholeheartedly approve. Just then, FK said, Myriad Dharma University belongs to the Myriad Dharma sect, which is one of the top 3 sects among the 10 great sects, along with the Underworld Palace and the Heavenly Devil sect. Myriad Dharma University, Underworld University, and Heavenly Devil University are naturally the 3 strongest universities among the 10 greats. Xiong Yu understood that although the 10 greats were at the top of all universities, there must be differences in strength among them. Knowing that Myriad Dharma University was one of the top 3 among the 10 greats, Xiong Yu became even more interested. Especially after hearing the names of the other 2 universities: Underworld University, Heavenly Devil University. What would those schools be like? Xiong Yu couldn't even imagine. But after praising Myriad Dharma, FK changed her tone and reminded them, although Xiong Pianpian's help is indeed beneficial for you to enter Myriad Dharma University, she is, after all, being watched by a true god, and is a student of the talisman department. The closer you get to her, the more likely you are to attract extra attention from the true god, and the more likely my existence will be discovered. Hearing FK's reminder, Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenjin suddenly felt conflicted again. Next, as Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenjin returned to campus, more company representatives from the universities above began to contact them. Because the Oasis group had already revealed the situation, these university representatives had no more scruples and directly approached Xiong Yu, offering him the conditions of each university. In the blink of an eye, several days passed. After talking with Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenjin, and leaving their contact information, the company representatives left one after another, and the campus of Songyang High School seemed to have returned to calm. Xiong Yu looked at the electronic document on his phone, which he had been recording these past few days, detailing the conditions offered by each university. Because of the ritual, all non-top 10 universities were directly eliminated by him. At this moment, the electronic document only recorded the 10 universities and related majors. Xiong Yu thought, Myriad Dharma University has suitable majors for both me and Azen. The treatment isn't the best, but it's not bad, and there's also my sister's help. However, he then looked at Vajra University. This university, directly under the Vajra sect, highly valued Xiong Yu's body refinement potential. It not only offered a direct PhD program, but also was willing to sponsor heavenly spiritual roots and apply for a military part-time job for him after enrollment, and in the future, apply for military-grade cultivation technique permissions for him. Vajra sect is giving me the most generous conditions. But the conditions for Azen are a bit worse. Xiong Yu then looked at Heavenly Sword University. This university, directly under the Heavenly Sword sect, valued Bai Zhenjin's performance in the foundation establishment examination and gave Bai Zhenjin the most generous conditions. In terms of treatment alone, I should go to Vajra sect, and Azen should go to Heavenly Sword sect. But if we study together at Myriad Dharma University, although the treatment isn't as good, we can have my sister's help and have more advantages in choosing majors and teachers. I also have to consider FK's problem. Sigh. After thinking for a long time, Xiong Yu became more and more conflicted and couldn't come to a conclusion. For this opportunity to choose a university and a major, which was like a second chance at rebirth, both he and Bai Zhenjin were extremely cautious, but the more they considered, the more difficult and tangled they felt the choice was. FK said indifferently, don't worry, just finished choosing before the college entrance examination registration. If you can raise enough money to buy spiritual routes and complete foundation establishment before the college entrance examination, then the treatment can be negotiated again, and maybe it won't be so tangled then. Zhang Yu nodded, deciding to take his time to consider. After Zhang Yu, Bai Zhenjin, and all the representatives had finished talking, they received an invitation from Mr. Wang of Oasis Group that night. The two arrived at the 999th floor of the central building at the agreed location. Zhang Yu remembered that the last time they came here, it was for the art exhibition held by Li Zulian, the daughter of true person Xinghe. But now, arriving at the 999th floor, they found that the decoration and furnishings had been completely renewed, transforming from the original exhibition hall into a mansion, an office. A young man wearing a red robe with fiery red hair was standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling glass window, looking at the night view of Songyang City. As Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin arrived, the young man turned around, smiled slightly, and said, the Oasis building will take some time to build, so I have to make do here. I originally wanted to go directly to your school to find you, but I remembered that you must be busy these days discussing with representatives from various universities, so I didn't bother you. Seeing this red-haired, red-robed youth for the first time, Zhang Yu's first feeling was friendliness. He couldn't sense a trace of hostility in the other person's incomparably clear eyes, only purity, kindness, and friendliness. This was the kind of look that Zhang Yu hadn't seen in Kongshu for a very, very long time, causing him to be slightly stunned for a moment. The young man walked up and continued, my name is Wang Yin, you can call me President Wang. Actually, we've met before. During the final round of the foundation establishment exam, I watched your competition. At that time, I told myself that I had to have these two talents. Hearing this, both Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin felt a chill in their hearts, instantly realizing the same thing. This guy is from above. Wang Yin smiled slightly and continued, I like to be direct in my words and actions. I admire someone, I'll throw money at them. As he spoke, Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin's phones vibrated slightly. Wang Yin gestured, take a look, it should be the transfer record. Seeing the notification of 5 million arriving on their respective phones, both of them breathed heavily, their hearts surging. Is this the 10 million that the other party promised to donate? Zhang Yu originally thought that even if the other party said it was a donation, they would definitely make some requests, but he didn't expect that they would directly transfer the money over the first time they met. The newest novels are first published on 69chuba.com. At this moment, Zhang Yu couldn't help but admit in his heart that President Wang in front of him was the kindest, most outstanding, most imposing, and most suitable person to be his father among all the people he had ever met. With the other party's generous gesture, if they did it a few more times, wouldn't they be able to directly raise enough money to buy a heavenly spirit route? Just as Zhang Yu was thinking this, Bai Zhenjin beside him had already bent her knees, preparing to kneel down and call him father. But then, a golden light flashed in the air, and runes appeared out of thin air, directly stopping Bai Zhenjin. Zhang Yu was slightly stunned and thought, this is divine power. He activated a spell? Zhang Yu glanced at Wang Yin's hands, but didn't see a talisman book on the other party's hand, nor did he see the action of drawing a talisman. Fu Ji said solemnly, it's semi-automatic spellcasting, without a talisman. His faith level is at least level 8, or above. His entire being is constantly connected to the divine power network, and the spell is cast as soon as he thinks about it. This person must be a key monitoring target of the righteous God. Next, I must fully hide myself. As Fuji's voice completely disappeared, Wang Yin waved his hand and said, I don't like others kneeling, I don't like formalism. In the future, you should study hard, cultivate hard, and if you join the company, work hard, and contribute more to Kongshu. If you become a hard-working person, then my money will not have been donated in vain. At this moment, Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin were once again shaken, not because of the other party's 10 million, but because they felt that the other party was really handsome, and had a lot of personal charm. Wang Yin continued, giving you this 10 million is purely because I admire you. You don't need to feel burdened. Talented and capable people should earn more. This is the principle of Kongshu. You can decide what we're going to talk about next according to your own ideas. You can ask for whatever conditions you want, don't have any concerns. After saying that, a golden light flashed beside Wang Yin again, and a slideshow was projected by divine power. Oasis Group has several products that it wants to fully launch into the first floor market. Originally, we wanted to use the gimmick of the foundation establishment exam, with Yeling Xiao as the main focus, and cooperate with other winners to help promote it. But Yeling Xiao has now lost. But fortunately, you two are even more outstanding. So I would like to invite you to help me promote it. As the spokespersons of Oasis Company, what do you think? Jiang Yu quickly said, no problem. Jiang Yu didn't consider himself to be a snobbish person. The reason why he agreed so quickly at this moment was definitely not because of the money he had just received, but because he really felt that Wang Yin in front of him seemed very different compared to the Kongshu people he had seen before. He thought to himself, President Wang, maybe he will completely change the environment of the first floor of Kongshu. Bai Zhenzhen beside him stammered, then this remuneration. Zhang Yu glanced at Bai Zhenzhen and thought that Ajin was still too focused on money. If you work with a big shot like President Wang, would you still be afraid of not making money? Wang Yin smiled slightly and said, my bad, I almost forgot to say. 3 million. Hearing this number, Zhang Yu had to admit that he was being arrogant, because he actually felt a little disappointed. Especially compared to the 5 million he had just received, this 3 million felt a little stingy. Zhang Yu hesitated and said, this isn't it that a little less? Less. Hearing this, a hint of unwillingness flashed in Wang Yin's eyes. He hated being told that something was too little in his life. Then I'll add it to 4 million. How about 4 million per person per month? The time will start from next month, and continue until June next year, after your college entrance examination, for a total of 68 million per person. Damn it, so it was originally 3 million per person per month. Then the next step is 4 million per person per month. A total of 68 million. Zhang Yu admitted that he was being superficial just now. He quickly stood up and said solemnly, President Wang, I am honored to participate in your company's activities. The amount of money is not important, the main thing is that we especially like the corporate culture of Oasis Group. Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenzhen quickly signed the contract with Wang Yin. Before they left, Wang Yin said, by the way, since we're all part of the same company, it's okay for me to say some things now. If you're interested in attending Yuming University, I can introduce you to some teachers. My whole family graduated from Yuming University. If you enroll in Yuming in the future, just mention my name if you need anything. If you have any requests, you can also tell me, and I'll talk to the people in the admissions office to get you better treatment. If you join Yuming University, you'll be my junior brothers and sisters. On the way home, Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenzhen were secretly excited looking at the money in their accounts. Zhang Yu already had more than 4.7 million in his original account. Adding the 5 million given by President Wang today, the balance reached a huge 9.7 million. With the future monthly income of 4 million, I will definitely be able to buy the heavenly spiritual route and complete foundation establishment before graduating from high school. Even if we include the 1.7 million loan and interest we owed before, and the 3.3 million interest-free loan from the foundation establishment exam. Even with all that, it will definitely be enough. Thinking of this, Zhang Yu felt a burst of excitement and temporarily put aside his entanglement with universities and majors. Completing foundation establishment in high school and then see what conditions those universities are willing to offer. Bai Zhenzhen said, President Wang is from Yuming University. If he protects us, wouldn't that be another option? Zhang Yu nodded slightly. Alas, this is even more tangled. Fuji looked at the excited Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenzhen and reminded them, it's rare that you're so lucky to meet such a generous benefactor. Next, you have to work hard. Anyway, do whatever he tells you to do. If you can please him and have a good relationship with him, you may have the opportunity to earn money from part-time jobs on the second floor in the future. Bai Zhenzhen said, aren't people who come down from above usually demoted? Fuji said, Oasis Group is obviously going to make a big move this time, targeting the entire Kongshu's first floor market. Judging from Wang Yin's demeanor and his semi-automatic spells, he is likely here to gain experience. You should have a good relationship with him, and it will be easier to get along when you go to university in the future. In the following days, in addition to exercising his Dao heart and constantly attacking level 10 Dao heart, Zhang Yu also reviewed his lessons and learned some of the exercises provided free of charge by Xiong High School. Anyway, free exercises are free, so why not learn them? Sometimes he would also search for other sets on the chain law diagram, such as the martial arts required by the dragon bloodline, and heavenly martial battle heart. But he only temporarily collected them. In the future, if he bought the heavenly spiritual route and had extra money, he would consider practicing them. Because he was wholeheartedly trying to raise money to buy the heavenly spiritual route and complete foundation establishment as soon as possible. Therefore, although Xiong Yu now had a huge amount of money, he was not willing to spend it. In addition, his mana and physical strength had reached the limit of ki refining except for his Dao heart, so he had much less time to practice. For a time, apart from maintaining the operation of the mental method at all times and continuing to temper his Dao heart, Xiong Yu had no other cultivation pressure. I haven't had such a relaxed day of cultivating only my Dao heart for 24 hours in a long time. Faced with this sudden relaxed life, Xiong Yu became a little unaccustomed to it. Even looking at Bai Zhenjin, who was still diligently practicing new martial arts and deducing new exercises, and his classmates who were still diligently practicing and studying, Xiong Yu felt a sense of guilt. I shouldn't waste time. He simply took more time to tutor in the dark tutoring world, planning to earn enough money to buy the heavenly spiritual route as soon as possible. Time passed quickly and unconsciously. Just as Xiong Yu was living a leisurely life, Li Zilian's phone suddenly rang, and she said with some surprise, "Dad." Xing Zhenren's tired voice came, "Help me contact Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenjin. I will meet these two disciples next month." Li Zulian hesitated, "But you had me reject Xiong Yu back then." Xing Zhenren said, "If I say they are my disciples, they can be. In short, I will find a time to talk to them. Alas, I should have come this month, but the company has another temporary task, and I have to work overtime until next month." In the blink of an eye, it was February. Xiong Yu's savings also reached more than 15 million. In the past month or so, although Xiong Yu had a leisurely life, he also heard about many changes in Songyang City. Some companies' competition has stopped, some companies' competition has become more intense, and more companies have exchanged shares and announced cooperation with Oasis Group. Even if he didn't calculate it carefully, Xiong Yu could feel that he could see more and more Oasis Group logos on the street. On this day, Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenjin came to the protected area of Red Tower at the invitation of Wang Yin. However, today's protected area was reserved by Oasis Group. All invited guests can breathe freely after entering the protected area, and they don't have to worry about being charged for breathing and exhaling spiritual energy. What a big deal. Bai Zhenjin took a deep breath, with a happy smile on her face. "I didn't expect that one day we would be able to breathe freely in the protected area." Xiong Yu said, "President Wang is of course generous. Let's go quickly. I heard that people from various wealthy families and companies in Songyang City have been invited today. I'm afraid President Wang is going to make another move." The two quickly arrived at the center of the venue and saw that it was full of wealthy family, children, and company elites in luxurious costumes. The venue was full of various foods, and even various expensive potions were available for people to inhale at will. From a distance, they could smell a strong smell of Dao heart buffer. In the very center of the crowd, Wang Yin was surrounded by a large circle of people like stars holding the moon, and bursts of laughter were heard from time to time. Bai Zhenjun said, "Damn, a bunch of dogs, all licking President Wang. Let's hurry up, there won't be any seats in a while." Not long after Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenjin joined in, they suddenly saw an acquaintance. Ye Lingxiao. Xiong Yu was slightly startled, and then looked at the people next to Ye Lingxiao. "They are all from Xiandu, right? Are they chasing President Wang here?" Almost at the moment Xiong Yu saw him, Ye Lingxiao also saw Xiong Yu, and his heart tightened. This time, these people from Xiandu came to Songyang to get close to Wang Yin, assist Wang Yin, and have a good relationship with Wang Yin. At this moment, when they saw Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenjin, a trace of hostility flashed on the faces of Ye Lingxiao and the others from Xiandu. When they saw Wang Yin beckoning and leading Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenjin to his side, announcing that the two would be the spokespersons of Oasis Group next, the hostility on the faces of Ye Lingxiao and others became even stronger. Shangji, who won the championship in the mana race, looked at Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenjin, standing on the left and right of President Wang, his eyes full of jealousy. "Damn, how good are these two guys at licking?" Ye Lingxiao thought to himself, "President Wang really likes these two fellows. At this moment, they all understood that Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin were their biggest competitors under Wang Yin. But seeing the two of them being so appreciated by Wang Yin, Ye Lingxiao, and the others naturally wouldn't provoke President Wang. They were just thinking in their hearts that they must use various methods to please President Wang and get closer to him. Amidst the clinking of glasses, whether it was the people from Xiandu or the wealthy families of Songyang City, they were all taking turns flattering President Wang, trying to please this young master of the Oasis Group. And Wang Yin announced the upcoming opportunities of the Oasis Company during the gathering, which would unite the local wealthy families of many cities to fully promote the synthetic food of the Oasis Group, promote new body refining technology, and promote new bloodline technology. Wang Yin raised his glass and said, "May every generation of your families be blessed with talent from now on, be able to pass the 10 grades, be selected into the sects, and contribute to Kengshu." Everyone raised their glasses in response, and cheered. Just then, Zhang Yu saw a familiar face among the waiters beside him and the little panda Anen obviously saw Zhang Yu too, smiled at him, and flicked her tail. The newest novels are first published at 6-9 books. As the party progressed, everyone drank and took medicine, and the atmosphere became more and more lively. Just then, Wang Yin, whose eyes were already a little hazy after taking a lot of medicine, looked at a lame demon descendant, waiter, and shook his head, saying, "Pitiful. Open your mouth. I'll grant you a chance." After saying that, President Wang spat a mouthful of saliva into the other party's mouth. The next moment, the demon descendant cried out, and his originally lame leg gradually healed. The surrounding people complimented him one after another. Wang Yin laughed and said, "This is the new technology of our Oasis Group. The human body is like polished jade. As long as it is developed, every inch of it is a divine object." After saying that, he looked at the other eager demon descendant waiters, laughed loudly, and said, "Come on, I'm in a good mood today, I'll reward you all." Zhang Yu looked at the demon descendant waiters, opening their mouths wide, scrambling to receive President Wang's saliva, and listened to the surrounding guests laughing. He felt a slight daze in his heart, and always felt a little uncomfortable. But seeing the demons swallowing the saliva, with faces full of excitement and gratitude, he felt that this seemed very normal. After all, for them, a mouthful of President Wang's saliva is a good medicine they can't afford. Just then, Zhang Yu saw Anan holding a cup and squeezing into the crowd, obviously wanting to receive a sip or two of President Wang's saliva. Taking a cup to receive it as it for Zhang Wenwu. Looking at her receiving the saliva, smelling the fragrance from the cup, and retreating with a satisfied expression, guarding it like a treasure, Zhang Yu felt complicated for a while and suddenly didn't know what to say. On the way back that night, Zhang Yu asked Bai Zhenjin, the Oasis Group's alliance with local wealthy families will make the company's monopoly even more powerful, the local aristocratic families even more terrifying, and the poor even less likely to succeed, right? Bai Zhenjin said casually, "Probably. Why did you think of asking this?" Fuji reminded, "This is the general trend, and we little people can't control it, so don't think too much about it." A few days later, at the Oasis Group's press conference. With the strong support of the wealthy families, countless elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and even company canteens, and public transportation everywhere, was broadcasting this press conference. At the press conference, the host talked about the special nature of the high school foundation building exam, the power of the foundation building certificate, and the achievements of Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin. As long as you insist on taking the green food of the Oasis Group, everyone will have the opportunity in the future to become a high school academic master, like Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin, and even pass the foundation building certificate, soar into the sky, and rush into the top 10. The host said, and handed the microphone to Zhang Yu, asking him to say a few words. Zhang Yu looked at the many ordinary high school students at the scene, recalling the lines he had memorized, and a hint of hesitation suddenly surged in his heart. Bai Zhenjin pushed him. Fuji urged, "Why are you stunned? Hurry up and say your lines." Zhang Yu swallowed and said, "I was originally just an ordinary student, and it was the green food of the Oasis Group that changed me. Eating green food improves your aptitude and strengthens your body. Everyone has the opportunity to be like me, to pass the foundation building certificate." That night, President Wang once again invited Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin to attend the party. In a huge blood pool, President Wang slowly walked out, smiled slightly at Zhang Yu, and Bai Zhenjin, and said, Zhang Yu, Zhenjin, our great heroes, you came just in time. This is the blood god pool I built with the immortal Dao technology of the Nether Palace. Come down and soak in it. It can improve your physique, increase your lifespan, and improve your wisdom, which will be of great benefit to future foundation building. Zhang Yu hesitated and asked, this blood pool is. President Wang laughed and said, don't worry, it's all heart blood that I bought at a high price from some key, refining, peak experts. It's absolutely clean, and absolutely the essence. As he said that, he had already walked out of the blood pool, and kindly pulled Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin into the blood pool. President Wang said kindly, come on, I'll teach you the Qi and Blood Sutra in this blood pool today. This is the basic skill of Yuming University. It uses the essence in the blood to temper the body. If you learn it earlier, you will have an advantage when you enter Yuming University in the future. Don't worry about the copyright issue. I have teaching authorization. Consider this technique as my gift to you. Ye Ling Xiao and Sheng Ji guarded outside the blood pool, watching this scene with jealousy, wishing they could be the ones receiving the teachings. Under the promotion of the Oasis Group, the story of Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin, who came from ordinary backgrounds, making rapid progress in their studies in 1 year, passing the foundation building certificate, and having the qualifications for foundation building, and being able to choose any of the top 10, quickly spread in all directions, becoming figures sought after by countless students and parents. And the synthetic food of the Oasis Group continued to conquer cities and seize more market share. Li Zulian glanced at the link jumping on her phone, and seeing Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin in the video, she thought to herself, what exactly does the Oasis Group or the Nether Palace want to do? Just then, the phone vibrated, and then came the voice of true person Xinghe. Daughter, please apologize to Zhang Yu and them for me. I have another temporary task here. Amidst the crackling explosions, Li Zulian seemed to hear the words God. Then true person Xinghe continued, help me make an appointment for next month. After I finish this overtime, I will definitely come over and meet them. In the blink of an eye, it was already March. Inside the quiet room, Zhang Yu slowly opened his eyes, a flash of light seeming to pass through them. He looked at the feather book beside him, and saw that the data displayed on it was Dao Heart level 10, Mana 100, Body Strength level 10. After these days of cultivation, Zhang Yu's Dao Heart level had finally reached the key refining limit of level 10. With his Dao Heart reaching level 10, he felt that his muscles and mana were completely under his control, smooth and unhindered, and he no longer had the feeling of not being able to fully exert his strength. But on the other hand, in Zhang Yu's sea of consciousness, the remnant ox he was visualizing was moving slowly, looking lazy, and even the broken horn on its head seemed to have lost its former sharpness, becoming dull and thick. Zhang Yu also looked at his current bank balance, which had reached 19 million, a big step closer to the heavenly spiritual route. Since the numbers on his bank card kept increasing, cultivation became easier every day, and he participated in more and more social events and activities with President Wang. Zhang Yu could feel that his remnant ox abandoning self-mind technique was becoming less and less effective in mobilizing potential, strengthening the body, and enlivening flesh and blood. Is it because my recent life has been too comfortable and not stressful enough? After all, this technique is more effective the greater the pressure. Zhang Yu wasn't sure, but he thought to himself, my future life will only get better and better. My grades are getting better and better, and I'm making more and more money, so should I consider changing to a more suitable cultivation method? This remnant ox abandoning self-mind technique is, after all, a technique suitable for the lower class. He thought of Lemulin, Song Hailong, and even Yu Xing'an, Ye Ling Xiao, and even President Wang. Zhang Yu thought that perhaps he should ask these rich people to recommend a cultivation method to him. Unknowingly, I'm about to become a rich man. So, should I adapt to the cultivation methods of the rich and find some cultivation methods for the rich to practice? And he didn't know if it was his illusion, but when this thought emerged in Zhang Yu's mind, the remnant ox he was visualizing in his mind seemed to become more and more lazy, and more lacking in fighting, spirit, and vitality. Just then, Zhang Yu's phone vibrated, and it turned out to be a call from Mo Tianyi. Mo Tianyi, a member of the Poor People's Alliance. Since Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin announced their allegiance to Zhang Pianpian last year, Mo Tianyi had broken contact with them. And after the death of Song Zhu, the leader of the Poor People's Alliance and a believer of the evil god, the Poor People's Alliance became even more insignificant, and Zhang Yu hadn't heard from them for a long time. Seeing Mo Tianyu's call at this moment, Zhang Yu was a little surprised, but he still answered the phone. Mo Tianyu's somewhat restrained voice came. Zhang Yu, hello. Now, Zhang Yu not only had his net worth soared, but his strength had already reached the peak of key refining. Moreover, under the promotion of the Oasis Group and the halo of the Foundation Establishment Certificate, he had become a well-known figure on the first floor of Kongshu, a rich man. And in Mo Tianyu's eyes, Zhang Yu had already become a big shot far exceeding their high school student level, and was no longer in the same world as them. Zhang Yu said casually, what's the matter? Mo Tianyi said softly, I want to borrow some money from you. Since something happened to the boss, the situation on our side hasn't been very good. Recently, the company has cut salaries, and a member of the alliance hit someone while delivering food. Zhang Yu recalled the 20,000 yuan that the other party had invested in him, and by Zhenjin. Although this 20,000 yuan was not much, it was undoubtedly a timely help for Zhang Yu and by Zhenjin at that time. Thinking of this, Zhang Yu said, I understand, I will give you 100,000 yuan later, and contact me at any time if you need anything. Thank you. We will definitely pay you back in the future. Mo Tianyi didn't expect Zhang Yu to be so straightforward. After all, in his eyes, all rich people, no matter how wealthy they are, would not easily give money without any benefit. Feeling the kindness expressed in Zhang Yu's words, Mo Tianyi couldn't help but say, Zhang Yu, you are now a role model for all our poor students. No poor person in the entire first floor of Kongshu has ever achieved as much as you in high school. You don't know how happy everyone was when they heard about your achievements, knowing that you could get into the top 10. You helped us slap those rich people in the face. Now all the students in high school are holding their breath. Encouraged by you, everyone is working harder and fighting harder than before. Listening to Mo Tianyu's words, Zhang Yu didn't know how to answer for a moment. After a long time, after Mo Tianyi repeatedly thanked him, Zhang Yu hung up the phone. Suddenly, he used his phone to check about the salary cuts. It turned out that since the major families and companies had continuously united, the first thing they did was to collectively cut salaries. Zhang Yu looked at the analysis of some people on the internet, saying that the number of high school graduates and college students returning to the first floor every year was increasing, and the employment environment was already worse year by year. And as companies jointly lowered wages and benefits, employees could only choose to accept it silently in order to keep their jobs. Fuji reminded, what's so good about this kind of news? It has nothing to do with us. Even if it weren't Yuan by Zhenjin, the Oasis Group would have used Yeling Xiao for publicity, and the result would be the same. This is the general trend of the world. Zhang Yu curled his lips and said, do I need you to remind me of this? I'm just curious, just looking at the news. President Wang is such a strong thigh, a gen, and I must hug him tightly, and never let go. Listening to Zhang Yu's relaxed answer, Fuji thought to herself, this guy Zhang Yu, clearly born poor, why is he always concerned about things he shouldn't be concerned about? Fuji reminded him, as long as you keep climbing, you'll definitely get richer and richer. You need to learn to integrate into the circles of the wealthy, and stay away from the circles of the poor, you know? You should blacklist trash like the Poor People's Alliance directly. Why bother with them? They did help me, after all, Zhang Yu said casually. As for the circles of the wealthy, I know what you're talking about. Because their living environments are different from ours, the wealthy inevitably have deviations in their habits and perceptions compared to those of us from poor backgrounds. I need to get used to the way these wealthy people talk and live, and make more friends with them, so that I can climb higher and become stronger in Kongshu. Zhang Yu understood. Of course, he understood. Staying away from the poor and getting close to the rich was a major key to climbing upwards in this Kongshu. But for some reason, he just didn't feel comfortable. When they came to the cafeteria for lunch, Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin still sat at the same table as Qian, Shen, and Zhao Tianxing. However, in recent days, Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin's plates were piled high with rich synthetic meat, while Zhao Tianxing had started eating tasteless, unflavored synthetic food. Zhang Yu originally thought that the other party's family was experiencing some economic hardship, or that it was related to the rising prices of synthetic food. Yes, synthetic food prices had risen. The newest novel is at 6-9 book bar first release. synthetic food, which had initially squeezed pre-made food out of the market with its low prices, was now beginning to see price increases, as the Oasis Group's market share continued to rise. Moreover, the green food that Zhang Yu endorsed and promoted was also seeing prices continue to climb with the popularity of the foundation establishment, exam, and the promotion efforts of various companies. Now, even ordinary students in ordinary high schools knew that they had to eat green food and sign up for the foundation establishment exam to gamble on a one-step-to-heaven opportunity. According to the Oasis Group's estimates, under their promotion, hundreds of thousands of high school students in the first layer of Kongshu might sign up for the foundation establishment exam next year, and the market value contained within was even more enticing. At this moment, looking at the unflavored synthetic food on Zhao Tianxing's plate, Zhang Yu thought that the other party's parents might have also experienced a sharp decline in income due to the company's salary cuts. Ugh, this chicken breast is so hard to eat. Zhang Yu pushed a plate of chicken breast over. Lao Zhao, help me eat it. I really can't eat anymore. Zhao Tianxing was slightly stunned and swallowed slightly as he looked at the synthetic chicken breast being pushed over. As a sensitive person, Zhao Tianxing could guess that Zhang Yu was deliberately giving him food. This made him feel both ashamed and grateful, and he finally said a soft thank you before taking the chicken breast. Time passed with Zhang Yu's comfortable life, arriving at April. Now, even if Zhang Yu didn't do anything every day, a large sum of money would be credited to his account every month. And his account balance had already exceeded 24 million. On this day, he and Bai Zhenzhen came to the completed Oasis building to participate in the group's upcoming promotional planning meeting. Recently, many citizens' incomes have been continuously decreasing, while food prices have been rising repeatedly. The group has noticed this situation and decided to make changes. Hearing what the product manager said, Zhang Yu's heart was slightly shaken, and he couldn't help but look at President Wang beside him, thinking, is it because of President Wang? Is the Oasis Group going to give back to society and let more people have enough to eat? Thinking of the situation in the school cafeteria recently, Zhang Yu couldn't help but feel a trace of anticipation in his heart. He only heard the product manager say loudly, in order to allow everyone to have enough to eat, we have decided to launch a food loan service. By paying in installments, we can lower the barrier for citizens to purchase synthetic food and green food so that everyone has food to eat. Our first phase of promotion is aimed at students. We must enter campuses and strive to ensure that every student in every school has a reserve food fund when they don't have money to eat. Listening to the other party's words, looking at the series of content related to food, finance, interest, and mortgages in the slides, and listening to the promotional methods such as interest-free for new users and discounts for monthly users, Zhang Yu suddenly remembered what he used to be like when he didn't have enough to eat. If that Zhang Yu who couldn't even get enough to eat encountered this situation, he would probably choose to eat in installments and end up owing more and more food loans. Just then, President Wen patted Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenzhen on the shoulders and said, the promotion of this financial service is very important. Our ultimate goal is that in the future, there will be as many people borrowing money as there are people eating in the first layer. It concerns the group's layout in the first layer. Don't worry, I, as a person, will never treat my own people unfairly. You guys work hard for the next year. When you go to Netherworld University to study next year, I will almost be going back. At that time, I will help you introduce internships at financial companies on the second layer. After you have work experience, and with my introduction, you can transfer to the finance department. While speaking, Wang Yin raised his hand and straightened Zhang Yu's clothes, shaking his head and dissatisfiedly saying, you and Agen should also change into better clothes. You have so much money, you should spend it. Also, this cultivation skin of yours, it's obviously artificial fake human skin. Hurry up and change into a real one, otherwise you'll embarrass me when you attend gatherings in the future. Did you hear that? If you don't have enough money, I'll give it to you. Bai Zhenzhen quickly said, understood, President Wang, we'll go back and change our clothes. Seeing Zhang Yu standing there in a daze, Bai Zhenzhen poked him, and Zhang Yu finally seemed to come back to his senses and said, yeah, I understand. But Zhang Yu's mind was still constantly swirling with what Wang Yin had just said. We want as many people borrowing money as there are people eating in the first layer. Listening to Audio Nova. Oasis Building, 1111th floor. The top floor of this new landmark building in Xiong City is now the highest point in the entire city. At this moment, as Zhang Yu stood at the very peak of this city, he could see that the hall was filled with employees from the Oasis group. A loud bang came from the sky. Fireworks made of divine lightning burst open, and as lightning bolts intertwined with each other, streaks of light formed the words 1 billion inches in the night sky. In the hall, the host shouted to celebrate the scale of food loans exceeding 1 billion. Today, all food and potions are provided for free. Everyone's bonus this month will be doubled. Let us thank President Wang. Everyone cheered, and President Wang waved his hand with a smile, casually saying, "Everyone, continue to work hard and strive to expand the scale of food loans to 10 billion, 100 billion, a trillion. In the future, 100 billionaires will emerge from this venue." Accompanied by the screams of the crowd, the atmosphere at the scene became even more enthusiastic. Someone shouted, "President Wang, give out red envelopes." Wang Yin laughed, and with a thought, stacks of interest-free red envelope talismans suddenly appeared, scattering like raindrops across the entire venue, causing everyone to cheer again, and the atmosphere reached its climax. Bai Zhenjin also cheered and rushed up to grab red envelopes. Wang Yin walked to Zhang Yu's side, and asked curiously, "What's wrong? Not going to grab red envelopes?" Zhang Yu forced a smile. "I won't compete with ordinary employees for these small amounts of money." Wang Yin laughed and said, "That's how it should be. You will become richer and richer in the future. After a person becomes rich, they must learn not to compete with the people below for these small amounts of money." Then Wang Yin glanced at Zhang Yu's skin and said, "Come with me, I'll take you to see something good." With that, he had already pulled Zhang Yu to another room. A young man with a figure similar in size to Zhang Yu was standing here, and he quickly bowed when he saw the two of them. Just as Zhang Yu was curious about what was going on, Wang Yun said, "Take off your skin and put it on Zhang Yu." In Zhang Yu's stunned gaze, the young man peeled off the skin from his body, as if he were taking off a coat, revealing the flesh and blood beneath. Wang Yin patted Zhang Yu on the shoulder, and said with a smile, "I told you to change into real skin before, but seeing that you were unwilling, I took the liberty of buying this practice skin for you." Looking at the shock on Zhang Yu's face, Wang Yin said, as if counting his family treasures, "High-end practice skins all come from human bodies. To maintain their activity, they must be nourished with essence and blood every day, and prepared with secret methods. They are often worn on living mannequins, who use their daily exercises and cultivation to maintain the practice skin. This kind of handmade skin is not something that mass-produced goods like the one you're wearing can compare to. Especially this skin, which I specially selected, comes from a master of horizontal training. After you put it on, it can strengthen your body protection techniques and break through the original limits. You may not know, our Yuming University has a divine skill called Blood Godchild, which is best at skinning and making skin. Although my craftsmanship in this area is not good, my vision is not bad. Come, quickly put it on and let me see. Throw away that fake skin of yours, and don't you ever wear it out again to embarrass me." Looking at the young man in front of him, who was called a living mannequin, Zhang Yu couldn't help but ask, "Don't you feel pain?" The young man was slightly stunned, and a smile appeared on his bloody face. "We have blocked our pain nerves before entering the industry. Mr. Zhang, please rest assured, I have been in this business for more than 20 years and have a lot of experience in taking care of real skin. There will never be any flaws on the skin." Watching the other party holding the skin and about to put it on him, Zhang Yu couldn't help but curse in his heart, "Crazy, this Kungshu is really crazy." Wang Yin, who was beside him, noticed the resistance on Zhang Yu's face and frowned. "Don't you like this skin?" The young man holding the skin was afraid that this deal would fall through and quickly said, "Mr. Zhang, if you don't like this one, we have other types of real skin in our store. Should I call them in?" Wang Yin picked up the skin in the other party's hand, fiddling with it back and forth, while occasionally putting it on the young man to check, and asked in confusion, "This skin is of good quality, there's nothing wrong with it?" Zhang Yu looked at Wang Yin's actions. He didn't know why, but even though the other party was choosing equipment for him and wanted to give him a gift, at this moment, Zhang Yu felt a kind of an aura from Wang Yin that made him feel more afraid than anyone he had ever met in the past. Looking at the other party handling the young man and the human skin like a mannequin and clothes. Looking at the other party's gaze towards the young man and the human skin at this moment, Zhang Yu felt that he seemed to suddenly understand why the other party had no hostility in his eyes, only friendliness. That's not the look in his eyes when he looks at a person, but the look in his eyes when he looks at a property, a pet, a small animal. Just then, someone walked in from outside the door. It was Xiong and Tanshishan, who had also passed the Foundation Establishment Qualification Certificate. It's just that the aura of the two at this moment was very different from the past. Every breath caused the surrounding spiritual energy to vibrate, emitting a penetrating pressure. Wang Yin glanced at the two and said, "Oh? You've established your foundations?" Xiong quickly bowed and said, "My family scraped together some money to let us establish our foundations earlier, and get used to it earlier, so that we will have more advantages when we enter university in the future." Although Zhang Yu's income has skyrocketed now, it will still take about half a year to gather enough money to buy a heavenly spiritual root. But for Shengji and Tanshishan, who had already reached the peak of key refining, as long as they passed the Foundation Establishment Qualification Certificate, they could rely on the support of their families to establish their foundations. Looking at this scene, Zhang Yu sighed inwardly. The gap in wealth made him, who was clearly more outstanding than the other party in the key refining stage, lag behind the other party in foundation establishment. And if he wants to establish his foundation before graduating from high school, then he will ultimately need the support of President Wang beside him. President Wang ignored the two who had established their foundations, but looked at Zhang Yu, and smiled. "I've checked, there's no problem. Hurry up and put it on, and let me see." So, in the mannequin's happy gaze and in Xiong and Tanshishan's jealous gaze, Zhang Yu silently put on the practice skin that Wang Yin sent over. President Wang laughed and said, "I really didn't choose the wrong one. This skin is indeed suitable for you. Wear this to meetings from now on, understand?" In Zhang Yu's mind, the remnant ox abandoning body-mind technique, inexplicably, stopped completely. Looking at the remnant ox that didn't continue to move in his mind no matter how the mental technique was running, Zhang Yu said in his heart, "What a garbage mental technique. Does it have to be that I am bitter and tired, constantly resisting pressure, and constantly rushing into danger for you to operate effectively? I want to buy a heavenly spiritual root. I want to establish my foundation. I don't want to be poor in Kongshu for the rest of my life. I don't want to lose to those rich people because I don't have money. Besides, practice skin is just a piece of equipment in Kongshu, it's nothing big." In the blink of an eye, another month passed. The time came to May. Inside Songyang High School, Zhang Yu looked at the 29 million in his bank account, and thought to himself almost, "I'll soon be able to buy a heavenly spiritual root, and establish my foundation." Suddenly, he heard the sound of fighting coming from nearby. Zhang Yu frowned and looked over, and found that Chechen was being besieged by more than a dozen students. "You still think you're the student council president? Your family is no longer doing well, and you can't speak up on the board of directors. Chechen, you're not richer than us now. Hand over your homework. Head, today I'm going to taste what the student council president uses." Zhang Yu originally didn't want to care, but after listening to the increasingly outrageous noises, he finally couldn't help but say, "Get lost, don't mess around near me." Hearing Zhang Yu's low shout, the many students who were surrounding Chechen were so frightened that they immediately dispersed. Chechen silently climbed up, looked in the direction of Zhang Yu, nodded slightly, and said softly, "Thank you," then turned and left. But Zhang Yu knew that the Zhu family, due to insufficient competitiveness, had not obtained the opportunity to cooperate with the Oasis group, and was now declining. Chechen's days in Songyang High School would probably become more and more difficult. But what does it matter to me? Zhang Yu went to the cafeteria to prepare lunch, but saw that the synthetic food in the cafeteria had increased in price again, and even Qian Shen, who was at the same table, seemed to be eating less than before. That night, he came to the Oasis building again for a meeting. Looking at the next service to be promoted at the meeting, Zhang Yu couldn't help but grit his teeth and thought to himself, "Mortgaging flesh and blood." The latest novels are available at 69shuba.com. With the successful promotion of food loans, the Oasis Group decided to launch a flesh and blood mortgage service, allowing users to use their own flesh and blood to repay debts. Although he knew that this was a project that Kongshu had long had, at this moment, seeing the company's people at the meeting discussing how to collect meat, how to evaluate it, how to turn flesh and blood into cash, and how to store it, Zhang Yu still felt like he was watching living people being skinned and sent to the table. Time passed and Zhang Yu's both difficult and easy feeling, and it came to June. With the end of another college entrance examination, there were still 3 months left before Xiong Yu would step into the third year of high school. At this moment, there were already more than 33 million in Xiong Yu's account. But he still came to the stronghold of the dark tutoring world, intending to give people lessons and earn more money. At least the atmosphere here made him feel more relaxed than the Oasis Group. However, as the Oasis Group united with various companies, now companies in the education world such as Xiong Group and Shanghai Group, have increased their efforts to crack down on piracy and even have the intention of abandoning their original gangs, just like abandoning the chamber pot they used to use. On the other hand, as the salaries and benefits of company employees continue to decline, the number of students in tutoring classes has gradually decreased. Especially some elderly students, after their income declined, directly exhausted their lifespan and reached the end of their lives. Now every time Xiong Yu walks into the classroom, he can see that new old students are missing, and his income in the dark tutoring world has also plummeted. July. The weather in Songyang City gradually became hot. Under this gradually hot weather, Xiong Yu's savings finally reached more than 38 million. It was also at this time that some scandals about the Oasis Group were exposed on the internet. At the company party that day, Xiong Yu, who was eating with President Wang, couldn't help but ask President Wang that thing about using mortgaged flesh and blood as a material for food. Hearing this, Wang Yin casually said, "Oh, that thing." He looked at Xiong Yu, and by Zhen's curious eyes, and smiled. "Those are all nonsense reports from news reporters. How could the company add human meat to synthetic food?" Xiong Yu breathed a sigh of relief and thought, although Kongshu is very crazy, it's not crazy to that point. Wang Yin said, "Synthetic food is so cheap, wouldn't adding human meat be a huge loss? Only when selling to the higher-ups will we use the flesh and blood mortgage by users." Xiong Yu was slightly stunned. "Sell to the higher-ups?" Wang Yin smiled slightly, looked at the two and said, "You shouldn't think that we are doing so many things just to earn this little bit of money, right? What's the use of this little bit of money? You can't spend it much up there." He carefully taught the 2 inches. "When you enter Yuming University, you will know that the higher-ups authorize immortal technology and export immortal products in exchange for various resources from below. The human body is a treasure trove. Various blood, meat, skin, bones, marrow, brain, as well as resentment and souls, all have various wonderful uses. Wang Yin, and if you have undergone human body modification, surgery, and cultivated hard enough, then the value will be even greater." Xiong Yu's expression was a little ugly and said, "So they still pay for their own modification, feed themselves medicine, cultivate themselves, and then make themselves more valuable and easier to sell?" Wang Yin said, "They can improve their grades in this process and have more opportunities to get into good universities. Even if they fail and have to sell their meat and souls, they can be cashed out at a higher price, which is a good thing for them. Besides, our Yuming University, as well as Tianyao University, Tianmo University, and Beiyou University, all have particularly high demand in this area. If there are not enough materials, how can we compete with the other top 10? And the higher you go, the higher the labor cost. Many places also prohibit mortal breeding, and there are also human body protection laws and resentment emission management." Wang Yin sighed. "From this perspective, the cost of the higher-ups is far less than that of the first level. We are also forced to come here." Xiong Yu gritted his teeth and said, "So, we are selling the people of the first level, their flesh and blood, to the people of the upper levels?" Bai Zhen on the side, was also a little dazed at the moment, as if she didn't expect that there was such an inside story to the Oasis Group's affairs. Wang Yin glanced at the two, felt the resistance revealed by the two, and said, "You are from mortal families on the first level, and your thinking is very backward. I can understand this. But you must remember that the flesh and blood on your body are all sold by the people of the first level themselves. They want to sell, and we will buy. I have given them enough money. This is a voluntary transaction. Even if they don't sell it to me, they will sell it to others. This is normal on the road to immortality." Wang Yin persuaded with some earnestness. "Moreover, in another year, you will go to the second level to study at university. From now on, the first level will have nothing to do with you. Think less about things here and focus on preparing for foundation building. You are very talented and may be able to reach the 5th or even 6th level. Don't waste the opportunity." Looking at the silent Xiong Yu and the somewhat at a loss by Zhen, Wang Yin frowned slightly, seeming to be somewhat dissatisfied with the performance of the two. Like seeing a pet dog protecting its food, he shook his head and sighed. Am I giving you money, or are others giving you money? Who gives you money? Shouldn't you listen to whom? If you still can't figure it out, then take a few days off and think clearly. You are both smart people. I believe you will figure it out. Zhang Yu opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but thought of his Bai Zhenjian's tens of millions of savings each. Thinking of the heavenly spiritual routes they were preparing to buy, thinking of foundation building, thinking of the top 10. Zhang Yu then discovered that his body, which had been tempered thousands of times, could not exert any strength at this moment. Inside a luxurious apartment in the heart of Songyang City, Zhang Yu was sitting cross-legged in the quiet room, on the second floor, circulating a newly learned cultivation method. As the air circulation system operated, the airflow mixed with more than a dozen medicinal agents was inhaled by Zhang Yu's respiratory system, nourishing his physical body and stabilizing his mental and emotional state. After the last time the two of them were enlightened by Director Wang, a few more days passed, and the other party rented this apartment, which cost hundreds of thousands in monthly rent to Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjian, for free. Although in Director Wang's words, this was just a dilapidated house, the facilities here were actually top-notch in Songyang City. At least during this period, Jiang Yu and Bai Zhenjian did not feel any dissatisfaction living here. On the first day of arriving at this luxurious apartment, Bai Zhenjian exclaimed, "It's so great to be rich, Yuzi. We will continue to climb upwards in the future, and we will definitely become richer and richer, eat better, live better, and cultivate stronger and stronger. Right?" Looking at Bai Zhenjian's happy smile, Zhang Yu nodded slightly. He also had to admit that in Kongshu, being rich was really great. Being poor was worse than death. You didn't even have the strength to hit someone. At this moment, the cultivation method Zhang Yu was practicing in the quiet room was called the Golden Jade Hall Full Method. This was a method where the more balance in your account, the more calm your mind became, unafraid of failure, persistent, and strong-willed. After all, the broken cow self-sacrifice mind method was no longer useful, so Zhang Yu switched to a method more suitable for his new identity. Each time he circulated the method, Zhang Yu only needed to recall the number in his account. As he visualized this number in his mind, he could feel a sense of peace and a courage to face any situation arose from the depths of his mind. It seemed that as long as this number continued to grow, he would have endless courage. Each time he practiced this method, Zhang Yu couldn't help but sigh in his heart. As long as the amount in my account continues to increase every month, the effect of this method will get better and better, right? The cultivation methods of rich people are really useful. Much better than the self-torturing methods like the broken cow self-sacrifice mind method. Regarding Zhang Yu's increasingly adapted performance to his new identity, Fuji praised, "That's right. You are not a poor person anymore, so you should adapt to your identity as a rich person as soon as possible. Before, you were always affected by environmental changes, and I was worried that your cultivation efficiency and money-making efficiency would decrease. Zhang Yu, don't forget the insights you had when you first learned the cultivation method. Living in this world, you must learn to be flexible and change with the environment to go further on the path of immortality and climb higher in Kongshu. Those habits of the poor, as well as their understanding of the world, should be discarded as soon as possible. Keeping them will only affect your speed of becoming stronger." After 2 hours of focused cultivation, the smart housekeeper's reminder sounded. Zhang Yu walked out of the quiet room, and the surrounding lights in the corridors, stairs, and hall all turned on, illuminating the path ahead for him. Bai Zhenjian was lying on the sofa in the hall, on the first floor, intently watching the images in the video projection. Hearing the movement upstairs, Bai Zhenjian said, "Yuzi, come and see. The Foundation Establishment Exam registration test is about to begin." The Foundation Establishment Exam, which was originally supposed to start registration in June, was directly delayed until July because of the large number of applicants this time. Later, various live broadcasts and rebroadcasts were arranged, becoming a super event watched by countless people on the first level of Kongshu. Zhang Yu was in the center of Songyang City, sharing a luxurious apartment of several hundred square meters with Bai Zhenjian, with tens of millions of cash in his card. The heavenly spiritual route, foundation establishment, and the top 10 were all within reach. He no longer had to work as hard as before. He only needed to circulate his cultivation method every day, learn the free martial arts of high school, and live such a leisurely life. The wealth in his bank account was also increasing every month, pushing him step by step towards the heavenly spiritual route. Under such circumstances, although he could not change the current situation of the first level of Kongshu, he could at least treat Zhao Tianxing and Qi and Shen to dinner every day, lend money to some friends in need, and take care of the people around him. Zhang Yu thought to himself, is this the happiness of the rich? After suffering so much in Kongshu, I have finally become one of the elite. At the same time, the reporter in the competition live broadcast was casually finding a few contestants for pre-match interviews. One person who suddenly appeared among them attracted the attention of Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin. Bai Zhenjin said in surprise, that guy is that Yu Xing'an? The reporter raised the microphone and shoved it in front of Yu Xing'an, who had just come out of the restroom, and asked, hello, what do you usually do before a competition? Yu Xing'an under the camera was slightly stunned, and said somewhat blankly, relax a bit. Do you mean warm-up exercises? Yu Xing'an said somewhat awkwardly, almost. The reporter pointed to a bottle of milky white liquid in his hand, and asked curiously, is this a drink? Yu Xing'an quickly put the bottle into his arms and stammered, yes, this is a functional drink. Watching this scene, Bai Zhenjin sighed, Yu Xing'an, that kid, doesn't forget to make money even before the competition. It seems that the news from Bai Long was correct. Ever since the two of us passed the foundation establishment qualification certificate, this kid has become more and more hardworking. In the following test, Yu Xing'an's performance was outstanding, directly becoming one of the popular contestants. Zhang Yu thought to himself, Yu Xing'an's various data are now close to the limit of key refining. Yu Xing'an has a high chance of winning this year's foundation establishment exam. Then he will probably join the Oasis plan and endorse with me, right? After watching the competition, Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin, dressed in grand attire, went to the Oasis building again according to today's plan to participate in tonight's gathering. The building's security system had already recorded the two of them. Along the way, the doors opened directly wherever the two passed, without any obstruction, as if they were in an uninhabited place. Not long after arriving at the gathering, a high school student from Xiongdu suddenly quarreled with another student from out of town. You stinky out-of-towner, are you worthy to drink with me? Don't think you're great just because you're from Xiongdu. As they spoke, the two went up to the arena. The Xiongdu high school student knocked the other party off the arena in a few moves, seriously injuring him and causing him to spit blood. Then, the Xiongdu high school student transferred the medical expenses to the other party, and said with a proud face, hurry up and get out to treat your injuries. Director Wang smiled slightly as he watched this scene, and directly rewarded the Xiongdu high school student with 100,000 yuan. Seeing this scene, more people's expressions changed, and they all jumped onto the arena to challenge, but they were all knocked down by the Xiongdu high school student in 3 or 2 moves, and the atmosphere of the entire venue became more and more heated. Bai Zhenjin raised an eyebrow as she watched this scene, and thought, combat spiritual root, hand bone, and several top-notch expert-level martial arts. This guy is simply armed to the teeth. His hard power is not much worse than Yanjing a year ago, right? Suddenly, Bai Zhenjin remembered that she had seen this person in the live broadcast of the foundation establishment exam before. He was also a popular contestant, and his name seemed to be Ye Mantian. Is he from the same family as Ye Lingxiao? With the end of the college entrance examination, Ye Lingxiao, Shangji, Yunjing, and others have all gone to the second level and entered university. And the strongest students of Xiangdu High School have now been replaced by a new class. Bai Zhenjin suddenly felt emotional looking at this scene. When she first participated in the foundation establishment exam, Ye Lingxiao and Yinjing were so far out of her reach. But in the blink of an eye, they have graduated from high school, and new geniuses have emerged in Xiongdu, taking their original places. Bai Zhenjin sighed in her heart, there are really many geniuses in this world, generation after generation. Just then, Ye Mantian roared, pointing in the direction of Zhang Yu, and shouting, Zhang Yu, do you dare to come up and fight me? Seeing this scene, Manager Wang smiled slightly, knowing that Ye Mantian wanted to seize the opportunity to perform in front of him. But Wang Yan had no intention of stopping him. After all, who doesn't like their cats and dogs fighting over favor, competing for jealousy, tearing, and making noise? Ye Mantian's idea was also very simple. While Zhang Yu had not yet established his foundation, as long as he exchanged a few moves with him, he would definitely leave an impression in Manager Wang's mind. Ye Mantian thought to himself, we are both at the key refining stage, and I may not be much worse than him. Moreover, he doesn't have a Dharma body and is attending the party. He probably didn't rent a combat spiritual route either, so I have a decent chance of winning in a real fight. At this moment, Ye Mantian was only worried that the other party would not accept the challenge. Fortunately, in his expectant gaze, Zhang Yu slowly walked onto the stage. To be honest, since pushing the martial Dao Holy Embryo to its complete form, unless the opponent has mastered military-grade power, Zhang Yu has almost lost interest in key refining level opponents. Ultimate Martial Dao Holy Embryo. After any key refining stage martial art is used in your hands, its actual combat power will be greatly increased. In the past 6 months, Zhang Yu has also had practical training with Bai Zhenjin, Yu Xing'an, Lemulin, and others. How should I put it? All kinds of martial arts that have already reached the peak level of key refining will experience a surge in actual combat power when used in his hands. Not only does the power break through the original limit, but even ordinary moves can show the magical effect of turning decay into wonder in battle. Even now, he can use a set of basic martial arts while running his body protection technique, and he is confident that he can defeat any high school student. This always makes Zhang Yu sigh. This complete form of the martial Dao Holy Embryo is really capable of both offense and defense. At this moment, on the stage, Zhang Yu waved to Ye Mantian. You and Ye Lingxiao are both from the Ye family, right? He should be considered your brother? Half a year ago, I fought him, and he was the strongest opponent I had encountered since entering the Immortal Dao, bringing me a lot of inspiration. For the sake of your brother, I will let you have 3 moves today, lest you have no chance to perform. Looking at Ye Mantian, who was stunned in place, Zhang Yu flicked his fingertips and urged, aren't you going to attack yet? Ye Mantian snorted coldly, his muscles and mana twisted into a steel spear, bursting out with a roar, and stabbed fiercely at Zhang Yu. Ye Mantian thought to himself, this is your own arrogance and conceit, so don't blame me for stepping on your name, to rise to the top. With 3 loud bangs, under Ye Mantian's all-out 3 heavy blows, Zhang Yu remained motionless, only his body vibrated slightly, and a burst of roaring sound came from the air. In contrast, Ye Mantian's face turned red, and he staggered back, eventually falling off the stage. Ye Mantian raised his head, and looked at Zhang Yu in shock. His 3 heavy blows just now hit the opponent's body, but he felt that most of the power was first deflected, and then dissipated layer by layer, like a mud cow entering the sea, and finally, a strong force of counter-shock came, knocking him out of the ring. Is this guy really at the key refining stage? How can his martial arts be so high? Zhang Yu looked down at him, shook his head and said, before I even made a move, you were knocked down by yourself. Compared to Ye Lingxiao, you are far behind. If he were here, he could at least take one of my moves. Ye Mantian's face turned red when he heard this, but he had nothing to say. He could only cover his face and leave the party in a hurry. Zhang Yu had already returned to Manager Wang's table. As soon as he came back, Wang Yin clapped his hands and praised Zhang Yu. I didn't know that your actual combat talent is no less than Bai Zhenjin's. A few expert-level martial arts, when used in your hands, have a hint of military-grade martial arts. Not bad, not bad. Wang Yin's appreciation for Zhang Yu grew stronger, and he raised his hand and rewarded Zhang Yu with another 500,000. The other rich people, company people, and children of wealthy families at the party also looked at Zhang Yu with increasing solemnity, both because the other party's position in Manager Wang's heart was getting higher and higher, and because Zhang Yu's casual display of strength and potential made them even more frightened. Zhang Yu glanced at the 500,000 more in his account, and felt that the operation of his golden jade hall technique was smoother. Just when Zhang Yu made a casual move and amazed the audience. At the other end of Songyang City, Li Zulian answered the phone, and before the other end of the phone could speak, she preemptively said, yes, I know, I have to work overtime, another month, right? But Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin are very busy now, it's not easy to make an appointment. I mean, you have to pay. Don't worry, you can just transfer the money to me, and I'll take care of it for you. At the other end of the first level of Kongshu, realist Xinghe hung up the phone, and sighed in his heart. Fortunately, Zulian is my logistics, she handles things steadily, I just need to transfer the money. Then, his mind moved, and the figure kneeling in front of him burst out with flames, turning into dust with a scream. Damn it, I couldn't help it again. Xinghe, you can't kill people randomly anymore. I've lost too much money. Realist Xinghe secretly warned himself, then turned to look at the young man beside him and said, "It's okay, you can go. Don't come to the company battlefield to pick up trash in the future. This all belongs to the company's property. If you mess around like this, you'll be caught by the corpse picking team to be sold for organs, and your family won't get any compensation." The young man bowed to him, then quickly ran away. Dang Dingding's figure appeared beside him, looking at realist Xinghe and said, "Kid, you are still as impulsive as before. The number of accidental killings this month has exceeded 10, right? Realist Xinghe, if I wasn't as impulsive as before, you wouldn't have the chance to hire me. Tell me, where are we going to work overtime this time?" Blazing fire burst out from realist Xinghuo's body. "I want to declare first, if you keep making me work overtime like this, you have to keep adding money. Anyway, you and the people behind you don't lack this little overtime pay from me, right?"